Are you looking to get into Legacy? Turbo Necrodominance Storm Combo might be the deck for you for under $1,000. Let's go check it out. Let's begin by thanking Peyton Story for today's donation deck. Peyton was a huge fan of my previous video that you can find in the card above, where we went undefeated 5-0, and it was a great league. So if you're interested, go check out that video. And Peyton wanted to see that same exact deck list played again, and it's been exactly 3 months since I recorded that video, so now seems like a great time to play the deck again. Fun fact, I do have a sideboard guide over at theepicstorm.com/shop for this deck if you're interested in how to sideboard for, playing Necrodominance Combo, which is exactly what we're doing today. And the reason that you'd be interested in playing this deck is that it's budget friendly. This deck list has no reserve list cards, making it relatively cheap. So as I mentioned, I went undefeated in my last video, so this deck is obviously competitive. It is a powerful Legacy Storm archetype, so there's a lot to like about it, and not having reserve list cards means that it's relatively cheap. You can build the list in front of you for $1,000 as I record this if you get all of the cheapest versions of each card, and $600 of that is simply Chrome Mox, which is crazy. So if you already own Chrome Mox, you can build this deck for less than $400, which is pretty good. And if you own all of the other pieces from other various Legacy decks, like, I don't know, Oops All Spells, it would be even less money. So this is a great deck that you could theoretically play if Oops All Spells was ever banned from Legacy. This would be an easy pivot deck. And I think that this deck is honestly a lot of fun, and it's competitive. So even if Oops All Spells never gets banned, it's a viable archetype, and it's reasonably affordable. That's my real thing here. So if you didn't watch that last video, the real update to this deck list was having a Gaia's Will in the main deck for your 4 copies of Besieged Dimir. So that way you have a deterministic win with Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, and then an artifact like Lotus Petal, Chrome Mox, or even sometimes Vault of Whispers. So you have a deterministic win that doesn't have the variance from the Necrodominance itself. It also gives you a backup win if Tendrils of Agony was discarded. It also gives you a way to beat something like Disruptor Flute or Meddling Mage on Necrodominance itself. So the Gaia's Will has a lot of value, and I actually go through a couple other niche scenarios in that previous video, so definitely go check that out. But that's the deck tech, so nothing's changed. I still love this deck list a lot, and if nothing's broken, don't fix it. So that's the game plan. We're going to see if we can run back that 5-0 trophy today. Let's, go play some Magic, and I'll see you in match number 1. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop, or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to the first match. We're on the play, and our opponent is a known 8-cast Affinity Stompy player, so Chalice of the Void and Force of Will. Here we've opened up an unplayable hand. We will send this one right back. Okay, so this one is capable of winning. The downside here is that we have no protection. That said, we only have 4 in the deck anyway, so you're sort of priced into keeping these. So we will keep. And then you have black mana off Vault of Whispers, black mana from Lotus Petal. You could cycle the Manamorphose for the 3rd one, so we do not need Summoner's Pact here. And then you'd rather have Borne Upon a Wind in case your Necrodominance does in fact resolve. Opponent with a mulligan to 5. We'll begin by trying to cycle the Manamorphose. We'll make 2 black. Lotus Petal. We'll sacrifice Lotus Petal for a black and Necrodominance. We'll play Lotus Petal. So things are looking good for us here. Trigger. And now we'll draw 19. Here we go. Exile a Spirit Guide. We'll make a blue. We'll cast Borne Upon a Wind. Now we can play Chrome Mox. Imprint Necrodominance. Play a Dark Ritual. Chrome Mox. Imprint a Veilcut Awakening. I do not have the resources I need to win yet. So we'll cast a Veilcut Awakening. And I think we might put the whole hand on the bottom here. Alright. Let's draw some cards. That'll do, pig. Exile the Simian Spirit Guide. We'll play a Cabal Ritual. Lotus Petal. Lotus Petal. Simian Spirit Guide for mana. And now we'll cast Beseech the Mirror with the Bargain, sacrifice the Necrodominance, and we'll select Tendrils of Agony. Target you. Easy peasy. Alright. So if we're facing the Affinity Stompy deck, we want to board out Summoner's Packs, which means we also do not want Wild Cantor. And then we'll bring in Boseiju Indoors. I don't know if you actually want the Nature's Claims. I do want Duress, I believe. And then you're supposed to shave like 1 Cabal Ritual and 1 Chrome Mox. Alright, game 2, we're on the draw. I'm going to keep this. We could just slam Necrodominance until our opponent ends up running out of interaction. I like this. Opponent on 6 cards. They play an Urza's Saga. So that's bad if they have an Ancient Tomb to follow it up with, just because it's going to attack my life total while I'm trying to resolve one of these Necrodominances. Saga goes to the second chapter, and they do have the Ancient Tomb. So now my life total's under pressure. Mishra's Bauble. They draw. We get another Spirit Guide. We'll play Gemstone Mine and pass. They didn't make a construct on the end step. What? That must have been a misclick. Alright, so they grab a skateboard with their Saga. They equip their construct, which now has 5 power, and they will swing. They have 4 cards in their hand. They play out a few artifacts. Now they draw off the Bauble, up to 3 cards in hand. We draw another Beseech the Mirror. I needed mana this game. Alright, we will attempt a Necrodominance here. They Force of Will, exiling Force of Will. We will pass. So we're taking at least 6 here down to 9. It is not likely to win if we play another Necrodominance. Disruptor Flute, what a draw. Okay. So now we'll take 7 off the construct, and they name Necrodominance. So now we're definitely all in on Beseech the Mirror. And I don't believe I actually have enough tools to win here. They have no hand. So something I could do is play Chrome Mox and print a Necrodominance. And then Beseech the Mirror for Boseiju. And actually, I don't even have to cast the or use the Boseiju. I could just see what they do. And then I could kill the construct. And then next turn have another shot at the win. Or, hear me out. Okay, there might be a better line here. What if I Beseech the Mirror for Dark Ritual? Yeah, I think I found it. Okay. So, we'll make black. Use the 2 Spirit Guides. Beseech the Mirror for Dark Ritual. Beseech the... I might even chain... No, I need the second bargainable. Beseech the Mirror for Dark Ritual. Sack the Chrome Mox. Spirit Guides. I think this works. So, Storm 1 is Beseech. Storm 2 is Dark Ritual. Storm 3 is Beseech. Storm 4 is Gaia's Will. Storm 5, Chrome Mox. Storm 6, Dark Ritual. Storm 7, Beseech. Storm 8 is Tendrils. I'm 1 Storm short. Sorry, I'm trying to just think through this before I click. So, if I Beseech for Dark Ritual, I'd end up having 1 mana floating, and I can replay the Vault of Whispers, because I have not played a land yet this turn. So that actually leaves me with an extra mana at one point, but I don't think... Replay the land. I think I might actually be able to Beseech twice on the way back. So we're just going to move. Let's use the Spirit Guides. Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. Sacrifice the Chrome Mox. We will grab Dark Ritual wherever you are. Cast it. Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. Sacrifice the Vault of Whispers. Grab the Gaia's Will. Now we'll play the Vault of Whispers. Cast the Dark Ritual. Play the Chrome Mox. Imprint the Necrodominance. And now I can Beseech the Mirror for Dark Ritual. And then Beseech the Mirror for Tendrils. It just took me a couple minutes to think of the right path, but I ended up getting there. Dark Ritual. Oh, actually, maybe I had enough Storm already and I just didn't realize it. I'm not sure. My opponent is complaining about turn 1 combo decks in the chat. I mean, you opened up double Force of Will Disruptor Flute. I don't know what to tell you. I also won the game on turn 4. So, c'est la vie. Sometimes that's life. Yeah, we won a game on turn 1, but this was a game where realistically I should have lost. You didn't make a construct on my end step, and that's on you. That's not on turn 1 combo decks. So we're 1-0 to start off this Legacy League. Let's see if we can get match number 2. Packs.com is the new way to open your favorite cards. It's a site where you open digital packs of trading cards like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and One Piece cards, and have the cards you open mailed quickly and securely to you. With a wide range of packs to choose from, such as the latest Magic sets, Kaladesh inventions, or even beta. I'm going to open a beta pack. What's great about Packs.com is you can see all of the cards and their odds of being opened in each pack. Now it's time to open one and see what I get. Come on, Black Lotus! If you don't like what you opened, you could sell it back instantly for more packs, or sell it and pick a specific card from the marketplace over at packs.com/market. If you want to check out packs.com, make sure to click the link in the description of this video and use code STORM5 when making a purchase for 5% extra on your first purchase. It's time for the second match. We're on the draw this time, and I've opened up a turn 1 win. I have no idea what our opponent's playing, but we're not going to send this back. Mox Diamond. Okay, so probably lands. They get rid of a Telling Gates of Madara, and now a Thespian Stage. So Boseiju Who Endures is a concern here. And these decks do play 3 copies of Boseiju Who Endures. I could go for the Beseech Dimir win, but I would lose to a crop rotation. I think the best thing I can do is just play Gemstone Mine and pass. Let's not give them any idea about what to do, and hopefully they tap out of Boseiju Who Endures, and then I can just win. 2 mana here for a Malevolent Rumble. Sphere of Resistance. That is not good for me. I was not expecting Sphere of Resistance. They had the Boseiju Who Endures. They had it all. Wow. I don't even feel bad now. They just had everything. And we cannot beat this, so we will go to the next one. Sometimes your opponents just have it. Devastating. We'll bring in Boseiju Who Endures and Nature's Claim. We need Pact of Negation for Force of Vigor, so we're not allowed to get rid of that. Once again, you get rid of Summoner's Pact, and then the Wild Cantor, and we'll submit. On the play for game 2. Nope. I think we keep this. Bottom, Pact of Negation. Gemstone Mine, pass. Basic Forest. Exploration. Saga. Am I supposed to just kill this so that way they can't do anything else right now? I think so. Let's just kill the Saga. Because then they can't play like Mox Diamond into something else. We'll play Vault of Whispers, play Cabal Ritual, Necrodominance. And now we're going to attempt to go to the end step. They have Force of Vigor, we will Pact of Negation. End step, trigger again. We will draw 19 cards. Simian Spirit Guide, Simian Spirit Guide. Alright, those were all the Spirit Guides. So now we'll play Manamorphose, and I tend to be pretty cautious on Magic Online because I found playing a lot of Modern that sometimes if you double click too fast paying for Manamorphose, it will select your colors for you, and I do not want that here. So I try to pull away my mouse and not click. We'll play Borne Upon a Wind, Dark Ritual, Elvish Spirit Guide, we'll play Manamorphose, make a red and, I don't know, another blue. We drew another Elvish Spirit Guide, we'll cast another copy of Manamorphose, red, black, play the Lotus Petal, and now Tendrils of Agony. Alright, it looks like we're about to be off to game number 3. So this is what it comes down to. We're on the draw versus a deck with a lot of disruption. Disruptor Flute, Sphere of Resistance, Boseiju Who Endures, Force of Vigor. Even though it's not a blue matchup, there tends to be a lot of ways that they can interact. This is a turn 1 win. I don't think I'm going to send it back, but I also can't beat pretty much anything. So we'll have to see what happens. You have a Maya Cradle of Growth, crop rotation. This looks like a turn 1 Sphere of Resistance. Yep. And there it is. Okay. We'll play Gemstone Mine into Lotus Petal. Pass the turn. I could actually play Necrodominance next turn. Well, not with the Wasteland. They destroy my Gemstone Mine. Cabal Ritual. I could still play Necrodominance. Maybe I should. No, I can't. So, Cabal Ritual costs 3. Necro would cost 4. I cannot play it. I have to pass. Thespian Stage. They now play a Mox Diamond. Gets rid of Yavimaya Cradle of Growth. Second Sphere of Resistance. I don't think we're beating that. But I will take my draw steps. Tendrils of Agony was not a good draw. We'll pass. Malevolent Rumble. They hit an Endurance. That's their card here. Or an Exploration. Maybe Exploration is better because they actually hit a Life from the Loam. And honestly, I can't beat Life from the Loam. Like, Life from the Loam, they already have Wasteland in the graveyard. I believe I've lost. Bajuka Bog, that doesn't matter. Veilcut Awakening, I guess we'll play it. Pass the turn. So they can dredge the Life from the Loam and Wasteland me this turn. And now they have Beseju indoors. Yeah, there's no chance I win anymore. Okay, I will save some time here. Like, I could sit here and be locked out of the game. I just don't see the value in that. So we are now 1-1. Unfortunate, but losses do happen. And I think it's a good showing that even though this is a turn 1 deck, non-blue decks end up having a lot of interaction against you. So that's part of why I think this is more in line with what should be legal in Legacy compared to something like Oops All Spells. Because green decks in particular that have Beseju Indoors, Force of Vigor, plus everything else, tend to be somewhat interactive. But, you know, not here to talk about Oops All Spells. We're here to cast Necrodominance, so that's what we're going to do in match number 3. Building a new deck usually means getting hit with a dozen different shipping fees from a dozen different sellers. It adds up fast, and honestly, it's the worst part of buying cards. That's why I switched to Card Trader Zero. You shop their global marketplace, but instead of having every seller ship to you, they ship to Card Trader's hub first. Card Trader then packs everything into a single shipment for you, and it saves a small fortune on shipping fees. This package from Card Trader just arrived. These are 4 dark rituals that came from 4 different sellers, but they all arrived in one envelope, and every card was quality checked by the Card Trader team before it hit my door. Check out the link in the description to try Card Trader Zero's optimizer for yourself. Stop paying for multiple shipments and get just one. Match 3, we're on the draw, and we're facing someone who has a lot of blue decks in their MTG Goldfish history. That said, this hand is pretty terrible. I'm going to send it back. Much better. I actually need black cards here. I wonder if it would be better to bottom a Chrome Mox rather than a Pact of Negation. Because I don't think Chrome Mox actually, like, the second one doesn't do us a whole lot of good here. So I'll keep double backup and hope that we draw like a Dark Ritual for turn. Or a Cabal Ritual. Bloodstained Mire, Underground Sea, Ponder. Okay, Dark Ritual, pretty please. Not a Dark Ritual. We will pass the turn. It does mean that anything I can imprint onto Chrome Mox next turn should get the job done. They play a Brainstorm. And now they're passing with 6 cards in hand. They did not hit their land. Summoner's Pact. Technically, that is something that imprints to Chrome Mox. So we'll play Chrome Mox. Imprint the Summoner's Pact. We'll play Lotus Petal. Exile the Elvish Spirit Guide. Play Manamorphose. We'll make 2 black mana. Vault of Whispers was a great draw. Necrodominance. So now we could beat a Daze. They Force of Will, exiling Ponder. I will Pact of Negation. Necrodominance back on the stack. A second Force of Will. I will show you a second copy of Pact of Negation. Necrodominance. Let's draw 19 cards. So this comes up often. I can't remember, honestly, if I've talked about it in the video or not. People like to joke about, oh, what if we just start playing Gutshot and kill you? So this would be your instance to cast Gutshot right now. You'd need to respond to the trigger. Because once the trigger resolves, those cards are in my hand. So you would have to Gutshot me in response to the trigger, and I would go to 19. I would then pay 18 life. So I would draw 1 less card. Or you could wait until I draw my cards here. And now, if you have the Gutshot, I could attempt to kill you in response. I say attempt because it might not work. But that is why the Gutshot LOL meme isn't actually effective. We'll play the Manamorphose. We'll make blue and black. Dark Ritual, Dark Ritual, Dark Ritual, and Dark Ritual. 4 copies. We'll play Borne Upon a Wind. Storm 14. We'll cast Beseech the Mirror. Bargain away the Necrodominance. And Tendrils of Agony. All at you. Nice. Okay, so we have successfully won game number 1 versus what looks like Dimir Tempo. I'm not quite sure. Against Dimir Tempo, I like the 4 copies of Duress, boarding out the Summoner's Packs, and the Wild Cantor. We will try this out. So you could bring in Nature's Claim or Beseju who Endures. I've quit doing that. The reason why is I feel like you can beat anything that these Dimir decks bring in that those cards would destroy. You can beat a Null Rod. You don't have to have artifact mana. Spirit Guides and Manamorphose can do it, so can your Gemstone Mine. If they have Disruptor Flute, I have found the best avenue is going around rather than through. And around would be Beseech the Mirror, into Gaia's Will, into the Tendrils of Agony, or just paying 3 more. So rather than having cards that don't line up well in the matchup, I'd rather just ignore their hate, because a lot of the time they don't even have it. Like, some lists play 1 Null Rod, or some lists play 2 Disruptor Flute, but most don't. And I'd rather not sideboard cards in for some lists, If I know that they have them, maybe I'll consider it, but it's just not something that I'm thrilled to be doing. Game number 2, we're on the draw. Our opponent's kept 7. We have the Guy's Will in our hand. We have no protection. This hand would be better if the Guy's Will... This hand would actually just be better as a 6, because then I could bottom the Guy's Will. Like, you could keep this. It's just this hand is all in on losing to anything, and our opponent's on the play and kept 7. It's risky. I'm going to mulligan. Ugh. We're going to 5. Down to 4. I regret every decision I've ever made. We'll keep. Get rid of Manamorphose. Goodbye to Chrome Mox. Goodbye to Cabal Ritual. They play Underground Sea. Turn 1 Thoughtseize. So that 7-card hand would not have functioned. So I don't know if I feel bad about sending it back anyway. They take my Duress. We'll play Vault of Whispers, pass the turn. They now play Ponder. Into Wasteland. Not very kind. We'll play Vault of Whispers and pass. Now a Brainstorm. And another Wasteland. Okay. I am good to go to game 3. I think our 7-card hand would have lost just as badly as our 4 did. I am going to just resubmit. Game 3 on the play. I'm tempted. You know what? I'm going to keep. We don't have one of our payoffs, but I have turn 1 Duress. I have 2 cards that cycle. I am down to try it. Vault of Whispers into Duress. We'll take the Force of Will. Pass the turn. They do have a Wasteland. I think their question is, do I Wasteland or play Ponder on turn 1? Wasteland would actually shut me off of Beseech the Mirror being an out. So that's pretty huge for them. I think the correct decision is actually Wasteland, because it cuts my outs in half. They play Polluted Delta, and now they Ponder. They did not shuffle. Sometimes people do that out of bluffing, though. Like, I don't read super heavy into this. Or heavily into it, I should say. We will play Manamorphose. They daze. I will pitch Simian Spirit Guide. We'll pay. And I'll make blue-black here. We did not hit. I'll play Borne Upon a Wind. Unfortunate. Okay. So we cycled our 2 cards. We did not draw Beseech the Mirror or Necrodominance. They have a Wasteland. They go after the Vault of Whispers correctly. We draw Elvish Spirit Guide. We'll pass. They play Bloodstained Mire. We know that there's an Underground Sea in their hand as well. So we know half of their hand. We draw Simian Spirit Guide. We must pass. They select Undercity Sewers. They keep a card on top. Underground Sea is back. Dothy Voidwalker. So that will shut off the Guy's Will win, but I'm not super concerned about that. There we go. So let's play Lotus Petal. And now we will Duress. They had Force of Negation. We'll play Dark Ritual. And then we'll use Elvish Spirit Guide. Whoops. Exile Elvish Spirit Guide. Bargain Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing the Lotus Petal. This can grab Necrodominance. And we'll go to the end step. We will pay 19 life. I will go to 1. So there's 2 Simian Spirit Guides. We bricked. No way. Wow. That is devastating. No Manamorphose. No Valakut Awakening. I couldn't even cast the Valakut Awakening, though, because we drew so poorly. Life is cruel. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I played that game relatively well, but then our deck sort of just hit its natural fail rate. Unfortunate. So, bummer. It happens. We played to the best of our ability, and sometimes you just lose. Unfortunately, we've lost twice, but, you know, we're going to try to win match number 4 and get back to 50-50. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. All right, match number 4 on the play. I'm sorry, we're on the draw. I think I'm going to keep this. Our opponent plays a lot of Dimir Tempo. I don't know what they're playing right now, but I would guess Dimir Tempo. Polluted Delta, Basic Island, and Ponder. Dimir Tempo is not really a deck our turn 1 combo deck would like to face. Another Necrodominance. We'll just pass the turn. They play a Brainstorm. Blooded Strand. Underground Sea, and Tameo Inquisitive Student. They have 5 cards in their hand. Vault of Whispers. So I'm going to try to win here. We have no protection, but I don't think we're really in a spot where I can afford to wait, so we're going to just go. Wow, they had nothing. Okay. I will take the miracle that is that, and we'll draw 19. We have 2 Spirit Guides if we count the Summoner's Pact. We have a Manamorphose, so I think this should work. We'll grab Elvish Spirit Guide, exile it, and now we'll exile the others. Summoner's Pact once again. Exile the Elvish Spirit Guide. 4 green in our mana pool. We'll play Manamorphose. 1 blue, 1 black. We'll play Borne Upon a Wind. Dark Ritual. Lotus Petal. And Cabal Ritual. Cabal Ritual. Tendrils of Agony. I am shocked that we were able to win this one. Okay, so off to game number 2. Once again, we want Duress. I don't think we want anything else. Goodbye to Summoner's Pact and the Wild Cantor, wherever you are. A friendly reminder, there is a sideboard guide over at theepicstorm.com/shop if you're interested. Today is Monday, April 6th. I will update the sideboard guide today, so by the time this video goes live, you should have the updated sideboard guide. It is different than the one that I previously uploaded in, I believe, January. So it will have my current plans and strategies. Go check that out. Game 2 on the draw, we will keep. This hand is very good. We just want more mana. That's the only thing this hand wants. And our deck has a lot of it. They lead on a Polluted Delta, or Underground Sea and Thoughtseize. Unfortunate. Okay. This is the downside of being on the draw some percentage of games. They take my Duress. Okay. So now any Spirit Guide allows a turn 1 with backup. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, called shot. Cabal Ritual. Necrodominance. They daze, I will Pact of Negation. If you opened on Thoughtseize, Daze, Force of Will, you deserve it. Necrodominance. You know, sometimes your opponent just has it all. Alright, so we lose game number 2. What a hand. Let's go again. Game 3 on the play. I'm actually going to keep this. I know that it's a little sketchy, but I like mana in discard. And, like, the nice thing about this is if they turn 1 discard spell me, like, I don't actually care that much. So they have Force of Will plus not a lot else. So if we manage to rip Necrodominance or Beseech the Mirror, we have a win. They're likely to play Tameo on turn 1. And they do. Let's see it. Nope. We'll play the Chrome Mox. Imprint Cabal Ritual. Play the Lotus Petal. I think I'm going to just Veilcut Awakening for 2 here. We'll cast the Veilcut Awakening. Bottom of Dark Ritual. Okay. I don't hate this. I just need to draw cards that do something. So I need Beseech the Mirror or Necrodominance. They swing with the Tameo. They have Wasteland. Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. Pretty Please deck. Nope. We'll play the Vault of Whispers. And I'm going to hold the Duress. I don't think playing Duress here helps much. They swing. I'll go to 17. So I would obviously be happy with the Necrodominance. But I think Beseech the Mirror would be the better card for me at this moment. Thoughtseize. Okay, that hurts. If I were them, I would probably take the Dark Ritual here, because their hand currently doesn't interact, so I don't see the point in taking protection, and they agree. Now they Wasteland me, and I am multiple draw steps away now. We drew the Beseech the Mirror. Ah, devastating. So now I need to draw another Dark Ritual, or multiple mana sources. They surveil away another copy of Orcish Bowmasters. Dark Ritual is by far the best card in the deck for me right now. Cabal Ritual would be close. I go to 15. They draw off the Clue. They play a Scalding Tarn, Basic Island, and now a Ponder. This transforms the Tameo, which can get back a Force of Will or Thoughtseize next turn. Chrome Mox. I think I'm supposed to just pass, because the Chrome Mox imprinting Duress, and then I have the Pact of Negation. They get back Thoughtseize, which is the correct choice here, because they know that I have Pact of Negation. Brutal. Okay. Things are not looking good. They can play Murktide Regent, and then I am likely dead. I guess I'd have to draw exactly Necrodominance, and Necrodominance for like 13 life would need to win. 12 life would need to win. They have a Kaito. Okay. So I guess Necrodominance for 10, there's a world out there in which it wins, but probably not. We must pass the turn. So with the draw of Elvish Spirit Guide, it is theoretically possible if I drew a Beseech Dimir to win the game. It's not likely to win, but it's theoretically possible. Now they play a Ponder, another Thoughtseize. Okay. They take the Pact of Negation, which means that they probably have another protection spell. And Murktide Regent. That does not do it, and we lose again to Dimir Tempo. This deck eats up combo decks, so it's tough to be upset about losing to it twice. But I think both losses, things could have gone a little bit differently and we could have won. But unfortunately, that's not how it played out, and we are now 1-3. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $15.99. This token combo pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens featuring classic Storm and Mana tokens with new inclusions such as our modern Ruby Storm package, but that's not all. Our token pack covers a variety of formats from Pauper to CDH with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. The fifth and final round. Let's win this one and get half my entry fee back. No payoffs, no keep, mulligan. This is a turn 1 win. We will keep. We could actually play double Necrodominance on turn 1. So we'll bottom the Simian Spirit Guide. So this beats a Force of Will. I have no idea what the opponent's playing, by the way. I feel a little bad. Like, I do think that the Necrodominance combo deck is very good. This league is just not been amazing results wise. I think that's the nicest way you can put it. So we had a game where our deck failed us. The lands matchup was close. I don't want to pretend like we were super favored, but game 1 they high rolled you, and sometimes people are going to do that. Like that, this game is Magic the Gathering. There's variance built in. And then game 3 they had a strong start. Where I'm a little bit more disappointed is both losses versus Dimir Tempo. I felt like our draws could have been better to create wins. Dark Ritual, Gothy Voidwalker, okay. You are dead. We will play Chrome Mox, Imprint, Cabal Ritual. I'm going to leave myself a backup here. Like, let's say our opponent's a crazy person and they're playing Force of Will too. I could beat a Force of Will here. So that is why I'm going to leave myself the back door. I don't really need another Cabal Ritual to win this. Necrodominance triggers, we'll pay 19. Like, I think this league could have easily have been a 4-1 instead of a 2-3, assuming we even win this. Did I fizzle again? I hope not. Really? 0 Spirit Guides in the top, like, 50% of the deck? Wow. I'm speechless. I can't do anything. Not a single Spirit Guide in almost the top 50 of the deck. Unbelievable. I can't cast Manamorphose. I need 1 more mana. Not my day. Wow. Unbelievable. I'm just stunned. I don't even know if I have other words for it. We'll bring in 2 Nature's Claims. I'm not convinced our opponent is even playing Interaction, so I'm going to board down to 2 Pact of Negation, and we'll try this out. This deck is better than this. Like, I know that it is. I'm just having a really lousy day. Ah, jeez. We'll go to 6. This technically turn 1 Necrodominance is. So you could try to play it a little bit slower to play around hate cards. I just don't think that's the right move because you open yourself up to losing to like discard, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to choose to imprint both black cards here rather than casting the Cabal Ritual, because if we are hit by a Mindbreak Trap here, I have 2 permanent mana sources in play and it's still possible for us to win. Okay, so now we'll pay 19. So I hit the Spirit Guides. I did not hit Manamorphose, and I did not hit Valakut Awakening. You gotta be kidding me. Ah, wow. So, yeah, I'm speechless. And the Guy's Will is in my hand, so I can't even pass and try to Guy's Will win. I don't know what to say. This was an ugly, ugly league. We went 1-4, and we saw the fail rate 3 times. Alright, so not a great showing. Let's acknowledge that. Would I change anything? Probably not. That's my honest feedback, is it was an ugly league. All decks have bad leagues. I've had bad leagues with the Epic Storm. I've had bad leagues with Doomsday. Decks that are considered to be very good. I don't want to just say, like, this deck stinks because this one league didn't go well. That's not really fair, because my previous league I went 5-0 and I sort of just rolled everybody. So if you were looking to solve the issue of fizzling, there's two things you could do that come to mind. One, change the board plan so that way in post-board games, you're not boarding out Summoner's Pact as often. That said, if you change this board plan, you then have to start boarding out Chromoxes and Cabal Rituals and Beseech the Mirror. So post-board, you end up having less action spells, which I found actually increases your loss, or your chance to lose, like your win rate goes down. So I ended up sitting on Summoner's Pact Wild Cantor, and I found that to be the best thing so far. Today, we did have one post-board fizzle, but it wasn't even due to the mana. So, like, I don't think that's it. The other thing you could do is put in the 4th copy of Valakut Awakening over a land. Like, you could get rid of one Gemstone Mine and put in the 4th Valakut Awakening. That would slightly increase your odds. You could also try to jam in the 4th Borne Upon a Wind, but the 4th Borne Upon a Wind wasn't the issue for us. So I think you could try the 4th Valakut Awakening over like a Gemstone Mine, but I'm not even crazy about that. I like that Gemstone Mine makes black mana and doesn't enter tapped. So those would really be the things that you could look at. I suppose you could try to not play the Gaia's Will win and then add in the 4th Valakut Awakening that way. It's not zooming anymore. There we go. So you could try to cut Gaia's Will for the Valakut Awakening. I guess that's another possibility, and then you have you go up to 12 lands. So maybe you try no Gaia's Will, but then your deck loses harder to Disruptor Flute. I don't really have much else to say. I mean, thank you to Paint and Story for the donation deck, but this was just not a league where things broke our way. I think that's the best thing to look at it. An idea that I did have, but ultimately, I don't even know if it made a difference this league, was instead of playing Duress in the sideboard, you could theoretically play Hexing Squelcher, and then your stuff is uncounterable. Maybe Hexing Squelcher is the way over Duress. It's just a thought. I don't know if it's actually the answer, but it's something you could do to meaningfully change the texture of blue matchups, and I think that could be really good. I don't know if your mana base would need to change because you have Gemstone Mine and you really want Vault of Whispers for Beseech the Mirror, and you have Simian Spirit Guides for red. So you'd have Gemstone Mine, Lotus Petal, and Spirit Guides and Manamorphose for red mana. I think that's something I'd be interested in trying moving forward. So maybe we try no Duress and then we bring in 4 copies of Hexing Squelcher. And that could change how blue decks play. I think that would be a better thing to do than trying to solve this deck sometimes fizzles, because I think we hit a few anomalies. I think that's ultimately what it came down to. You drew 19 cards, and then the deck kind of just was like, oh, all your Spirit Guides are on the bottom. Or no Manamorphose, no Valakut Awakening. 7 hits, they were all on the bottom. Like, sometimes those odd chances are going to happen, and I think you're better off not trying to fix them and just accept it and move on. So I would like to try Hexing Squelcher on the board, I think, but that's really the only thing I would change moving forward. So I'm sorry I did not have a better result. I will quit rambling and complaining now. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, keep storming. I appreciate you checking out today's video. If you liked it, leave a like, comment, subscribe down below in order to support us. And then after that, go to moxfield.com where you can find the deck list from today's video, along with other great deck lists that feature the latest and greatest combo technologies. Once again, thank you for watching, and go check out moxfield.com.